Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, it may look like I lost my voice, but my voice is still up. I've learned that, you know what? Instead of, you know, um, pushing it, and that would make it much worse. So, we're just going to speak softly and quietly. And I'm just going to drink a lot of tea so this voice can get healed really quickly. Yeah, so what's it called? Horse voice. Hoarse voice. Yes, it's horrible. You cannot believe it. It's horrible. So, if you ever have a bad cold, um, and just in general, just keep brushing your teeth. Otherwise, hoarse voice is going to become more of of a reality. So, we're going to talk about the United States Senate today, and I hope you all understand me. But I have my mic turned up. Let's see if it's going. Yes. We're going to be talking about the United States Senate, and the reality is that the Republican Party is more than just capable of, as you know, winning the United States Senate. They're going to win the Senate. If you had to choose which party would most likely win the United States Senate, Republicans have a 60% chance in winning the United States Senate. Here are the current polls going on right now. We have so far 2 flips to be guaranteed. Not guaranteed, but West Virginia is going to be a solid flip because we have, as you know, Jim Justice. He's running in this election. You also got the far right. I wouldn't call him far right, but he is a part of the Constitution Party. Don Blankenship. He is now a Democrat, and it's kind of funny because he's absolutely not a Democrat. He's used to be a Republican, but then became a Constitution member. I don't know if he's a Trump critic, but he has been a huge critic of the Democratic Party, and he says, you know what, we're just going to run in the Democratic primary, which is a smart move. If he gets nominated, this race is totally dominated by conservatives. So yes, Tom Blankenship is probably the only well-known name. But I can guarantee you the West Virginia Democratic Party is not going to be so open to nominating him. Yes, he's also a convicted criminal. So, yeah, I can guarantee you he's probably not going to get the nomination. But the good news is he's the Democrats' problem now. But it looks like Zachary Shrewsbury is going to win that nomination. But going to, let's see, we have Jim Justice. He's currently in the lead, and he's actually facing off Alex Mooney in the primary. I like Alex Mooney, but I have to be honest, Jim Justice is a legend, and we should go with him because, as you know, he's the governor. Yeah, Alex Mooney, I think he's the Secretary of State. But we can see, yes, he's the U.S. representative, never mind. West Virginia's 2nd congressional district. But yes, Jim Justice, though, he has won every poll, and he has the endorsement of Donald Trump, and that's why I'm thinking he's going to overall win the primary, and we have to make him win, and overall it's supposed to be a solid flip. So, yes, thank you, Joe Manchin, for you dropping out. This makes West Virginia a solid hold, but then you have Maryland, and Maryland is actual. Republicans have good lead in Maryland. It's kind of tossed up, and it really depends on who the nominee for the Democrats is going to be. Is it going to be Angela Also Brooks, or is it going to be David Trone? Now, David Trone, he is the current U.S. Congressman from Maryland's 6th District from the Panhandle. He's probably going to get a lot of votes from up here as well, I think, probably from the Baltimore. But ultimately, leading in the polls by quite a lot, according to this. But let's take a look at Oslo Brooks. Yes, Oslo Brooks is an executive of Prince George's County. For sure, she's going to lose if it's a Hogan versus Angela Brooks. Also Brooks, I believe. Also Brooks, as you see, look at that. Landslide for Larry Hogan. So Republicans kind of need to secretly root for Also Brooks, because if Also Brooks wins, it's a guaranteed flip. Of course, you have the predictions. Now, these predictions were taken before Larry Hogan announced his run. So, yeah, it was before Larry Hogan announced his run. So, if you get David Trone in this election, though, it seems you have a pretty tossed up race. You have David. You have Larry Hogan defeating Trone by, I would say, 13 points in a recent poll from March. This is amazing, and we need to embrace this as a good opportunity so far. We need to not elect Terry Logan for sure. Because if we get a Trump Republican, I'm sorry guys, but we are not going to win this state. We have to win states, and how by doing that is we gotta have to rely on the rhinos to win the blue states. I don't like Hogan, but I know that we kind of have to have no choice but to nominate him. There's no way that Robin Keith Vicker is going to be nominated and all these clowns, but Hogan most likely is going to win this nomination. But as you'll see, you don't even have to win Ohio. You don't even have to win Montana. If you get West Virginia, Maryland, the Republicans win the Senate. But let's just say we lose in Maryland. It will be a tie, and that's likely not going to happen, because never has in U.S. Senate history that ever been the case where there's been a tie in the United States Senate. But tie as in U.S. Senate election. But when it comes to this race right here, we're probably going to win when it comes to this. Checking out my make. So yeah, you really don't need much in order to win the Senate. West Virginia, Maryland. But I know a lot of people are excited for Bernie Moreno, and I'm rooting for Bernie. We need Bernie to win. But if he doesn't win, it's not over. And that's what we need to remember. That's why we need Larry Hogan to win the nomination, so that our backup plan will work. So, Bernie Moreno, let's see, so far, when it comes to polls with Bernie Moreno, not a single poll for Bernie Moreno, but now that he's nominated, I'm hoping that he will start getting some polls in. And momentum will begin building up. That's what I'm really hoping for. Sherrod Brown, once again, he's well liked. I do not want us to underestimate him. He's probably the only Democrat that is still credited for the Rust Belt and the industrial workers vote. A lot of the industrial workers have turned on Democrats. A lot of them went for Trump. A lot of them went independent. But for instance, people love Sherrod Brown because he's a big union guy, a big labor guy, and they say he's moderate. There's nothing moderate about Sherrod Brown. He's an Obama voter, and he's endorsed Biden twice. Believe it or not, he's endorsed him twice. So how on earth is he a moderate? Tell me right now, how is he a moderate? Yeah, he's nowhere near as a moderate. So that's that. What about John Tester? I'm personally rooting for Tim Sheehy. I think that's his name, Jim Sheehy. He is the one most likely to have an edge in beating John Tester. He's won one poll so far. That's a good sign back in August. But so far, the three polls up here, they are for John Tester. And that's a reality that, yes, John Tester can win. We expect him to win by a little bit, but John Tester can win. So it's very important. It does happen where you overperform in elections. It does happen where you overperform and you end up winning. Heck, Mitt Romney was supposed to lose 2002 in the Massachusetts gubernatorial election, and he ended up winning. That's because he's a liberal. Liberal Republicans get elected really easily. They are credited for being unifiers. Really, they're not. They surrender themselves to the Democrat platform. Yeah, they're Democrats in elephant skin. It's an animal show, and that's what it is. So yes, there are many different paths to 51. Honestly, you need 51 seats in order to win this election. Let's see. Like, you don't need Maryland. Let's see. Let's say David Trone ends up winning Maryland. But Republicans end up winning, like, Ohio. We win. Or Republicans, Sherrod Brown gets reelected in Ohio, but we win in Montana. That is a victory for us. And the last state I'm going to look at is Florida. And that's a state that we must not underestimate, guys. Overestimate. We think Florida is red. It is red. But we have this very influential figure, Debbie Mucarsel-Powell. And she is a congresswoman. Now, how is she going to do? What's she going to do? I mean, Ron DeSantis took down Charlie Crist. He's the famous former governor in a landslide. How's Rick Scott supposed to beat Debbie Mucarsel? Well, so far we're on the right track. We have predictions saying it's going to be a likely, solid, very likely Republican hold. But when it comes to just our current polling situation, it's not the polls, it's Rick Scott's voting history that's concerning me. And I don't want to, and I'm not making, and I would be honored to vote for Rick Scott. Absolutely, I would vote. If I was from Florida and voted in the Republican primary, I'd vote for Scott. Absolutely, because he's the incumbent. But the thing is, looking at his previous runs, this guy couldn't even get to 1%. That's 2010. 2014. This was probably his biggest win. Well, he won by a margin of 1%. And that happened to be the closest at the 2014 gubernatorial election cycle. And then 2018, understandably, it was a close election because Bill Nelson's a famous guy. He's a NASA astronaut. Very influential, very powerful figure. But yeah, I guess we can't overestimate and underestimate Rick Scott too. Seeing that he beat an astronaut, I think he can very much win re-election. But, I'm just nervous. I think overall Scott's gonna win. But what if he doesn't? What will it look like? Well, doomsday situation if Democrats end up winning Maryland, Ohio, Montana, and Florida, they keep the Senate. And so far, it's not looking like that. And we want to keep it that way. So that's why I'm saying, hey, you know what? The reason why we lost 2022 was we downplayed all scenarios where Democrats could overperform. That's why we lost. And I'm saying, hey, you know what? Florida's an opportunity. I sound very insane right now for saying and insisting that Florida's going to go blue. I'm not saying Florida's going to go blue, but I'm saying we should keep an eye on it. It's too early to call, of course. There's only 2 polls, one for Democrats, one for Republicans. But hey, I'm saying first off, we should look at every race, but especially our own races. Ted Cruz, for instance. He's been doing ads after ads after ads, and that's what we want, right? Because Colin Elred is a huge threat. Huge threat. So far, yes, we got the tie. Look at a tie in a recent poll. That's concerning, guys. He hasn't won a legitimate poll, but we need to avoid ties because that will indicate a close election. We do want Democrats to overperform. Do you want Democrats to overperform? I don't. So let's be wary, especially towards states like Texas and Florida. States with diverse populations, and try to aim at Hispanic voters. Try to get Hispanic voters out and voting, going to the polls, and voting for Republicans. Insist that, you know what? The Democrat crime hike, the border crisis, this is hurting the diverse communities. Nothing in the world Democrats are doing. There's nothing Democrats are doing that is helping the minorities. Nothing. Nothing at all. So, go out and vote for change. So, anyway, I want to thank you all. And I'm going to end this video. I'm going to upload this video. And I'm going to go and get some rest. I need to heal this voice. I'm going to do whatever I can to end this hoarse voice, whatever it's called. It's just the worst thing ever. If you are a content creator or a YouTuber or a singer or a presenter of anything, hoarse voice is your nightmare because you're losing money because you can't perform like this. But thankfully, I am not getting paid for this. And I'm technically my own boss, if I was, and I get to make my own decisions. And I think telling the truth and speaking out against the liberal corruption and the establishment corruption is the number one thing. And nothing is going to stop me from doing that. That's what strong people do. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And of course, I'll see you all in the next political episode.